All right. I think we are live. I have not done a YouTube live yet. I've done a Facebook live with my sweet mother, chatting about wine, but this is the first time going on YouTube live. So hello and welcome. My name is Melanie. If you don't know me, this is Life's Sweet Journey. And I just figured I'd come on, share a few life updates, and also chat about road life and our time on the road, as well as our possibility of getting back out there, because lots of changes are coming for 2021. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people with everything that's been going on in 2020. And so I just figured I'd share kind of what that's going to look like for us moving forward. And welcome. Hi. So life updates. We have been living in New Smyrna. We were in the camper for 9 months on the road. Then we were in the camper stationary in New Smyrna while we were opening a wine bar. And it is open and it's doing great. Crimson House in New Smyrna Beach. Come visit if you are ever in the area. But we are currently living in a condo that we're renting from a friend of my mom's. Oh, and there's Mom. Hey, Mom. We are living in a condo in New Smyrna, which has been such a blessing. We actually had to evacuate the camper last November due to the hurricanes because the flooding was going to be really bad, and we were right on the flood line. And so we evacuated and ended up here, and we were only supposed to be here through February, and then the woman we're renting from actually decided to fully move. And so we've been able to be here until she sells the condo. So that's actually happening in January. So we are here for about another month. And then we have no idea where we're going to be. I am currently calling us the New Smyrna Nomads, but we shall see. We may be back in the camper, which is actually what I would really love. We may also be looking into a rental property that we could put the camper on the side so we can renovate the camper. We have no idea in terms of where we will be living, at least for the beginning of 2021. But we do know that moving forward, it has been a great run, and we love New Smyrna. We love the area here. It's a great town. Shh, don't tell anybody. Keep it a secret, because it's slowly starting to become more of a crowded beach town, which is the reason we prefer this over Daytona, Cocoa, is that it's not crowded. It's just a super great place to be. We've loved being here the last year and a half, and we'll probably continue to come back here on the regular, whether we make it home base or not. That's kind of where we're at right now, is trying to decide, are we fully making New Smyrna home base? Are we not picking a home base yet? We shall see. Oh, sorry, Mom. No, it's been gorgeous here. It's actually cool cool today. It's been the first time it's been cool. Yesterday was hot. And then today it's actually really nice in the shade. It's actually a little chilly, but we're here in New Smyrna for at least, I know, don't tell everything you know. But alas, visit New Smyrna, visit Crimson House. Opening a business and opening a wine bar, especially during a pandemic, it's been crazy. My aunt purchased the property, and we've kind of helped her get it open, and it's been a great learning experience. It's been a wonderful ride for us, but we have decided that at the end of the year, we are going to be kind of taking a step back from that, and hopefully mid to early 2021 getting back on the road. So it was a hard decision. Andrew and I talked about it for a long time. So Crimson House opened in January. We were open for about 3 months, and then COVID happened. And so we shut down, and we're actually shut down until October. We stayed closed for almost 6 months. And it just reopened, and it's been great. We've had some of our regulars come back, and it's just been really good seeing everybody and kind of keeping, keeping everyone safe, but also just being able to kind of get back open and moving, and just realized it's time for us to kind of take a step back from that, because with Babe working, he works during the day and he's remote now, which is so nice. At least for the foreseeable future, he's remote. He was commuting back and forth to Orlando. And so him not doing that anymore has given us a lot of time back. And I think during the shutdown and just having that time back together, because with him working during the week and then me at the bar all weekend, and sometimes him working then again with me at the bar all weekend, it's just a lot. And we're trying to find a schedule that really works better for a balance for the way our marriage thrives, I guess. And we learned that late nights and just 24/7 really on and off work, it's just not a fit for us. And as great as it's been to learn a lot about, one, the hospitality industry, I have so much more respect, which I always had, for servers and cooks and people. Babe is calling. Hold on. Hey, I'll call you back. Is everything okay? Oh, I don't know. I'm on a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. Oh, I don't know. Okay, bye. Sorry, I'm back. He's driving his mom home, and I was just making sure everything was okay. But where was I? Oh, yes. We are taking a step back from the wine bar at the end of the year, and it is still going to be so great. It's a wonderful place. I've learned so much, and people in the hospitality industry, they work so hard. So be nice to your servers. And especially right now when people are getting back into it, servers haven't been able to go into work, or things look a lot different than they did before COVID. Just show them a little love. They're working hard to make sure everybody stays happy and healthy and get good food. But yeah, so that's about it in terms of life updates. Mostly we just don't know. We're in a interesting period of life, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. But ideally, our plan is to find a way to get back on the road. So RV life, when we did it the first go around, when we kind of decided to head back this way and go back stationary for a while, it felt a little, not like a failure, but it just didn't work out the way we had planned and envisioned, and really what does. But full-time nomad life is a lot harder than it looks. Everything is a lot harder than it looks on social media, of course. But for us, the first go around, he had to take a sabbatical from work, and we were both teaching with a company called VIP Kid. And the hours were just insane. It was a great way to travel and work, because we would work during the morning because of the time difference between here and China. And then we'd have the majority of the day free to explore, which was so great. But then we were going to bed at like 6 or 7 o'clock because we got up so early. And the further west we got, 6 or 7 o'clock Eastern time is like, 3 and 4. And so we're going to bed when they're really just getting up and getting going, and restaurants are just starting to open. I remember we were like, oh, let's go grab lunch. And we went to we had found this great looking menu, pull up, and I'm like, there's no one here. And that's because it was not lunchtime. It was actually like 9 o'clock in the morning. And so they weren't even open. But our phones were set on Eastern time because we had to teach off of Eastern time pretty much our entire time on the road the first go around. And so we came back here to give the wine bar a try and to figure out kind of what life looked like next and find a home base. We knew we didn't really want to go back to Orlando in terms of the big city. We like being kind of further out here where it is just a lot less congested. And one, you have the beach and it's beautiful. We miss our community in Orlando. But the nice thing about New Smyrna is you're literally somehow an hour from everything. It doesn't matter if I'm going to Sanford to visit my sister, or if I'm going to Orlando to visit a friend or my dad. It's an hour, which is really strange because it's 30 minutes from Sanford to Orlando, and Sanford's smack dab in the middle, but it's still an hour. I don't know. New Smyrna is some kind of like crazy time warped bubble of New Smyrna-ness. That's what we're gonna call it. But we would like to renovate the camper because one of the silver linings that's come out of COVID is all of this remote work that's been happening. Companies that prior to COVID were super against remote work have seen how easy it is, and one, how much more I think people are getting done because they don't have that crazy commute. I know people sometimes miss getting to, have that chatter and the, work life. I don't know. What is it called? The water tank talks. But those don't happen anymore. So Babe says he's just a lot more productive working from home, and that going into 2021, or as COVID starts to dissipate some and people do start going back to work, he thinks that the industry is just going to look a lot different, and that we may have the flexibility to go remote at least part-time. So I think that's kind of what we're gearing up to do. So I just got a new job doing social media marketing with a company that my cousin started called Social Creative, and I love it. It is such a good fit just for my personality and for the writer in me. I've always had a passion for writing, and it really is. It's just a great fit. And so that will be able to be remote. So we'll both be able to work remotely. Whether he does have to go in occasionally, that may happen, and that would be fine, because I think one of the other things we learned the first go around on the road, the adventure and everything we were able to see and everything we were able to do was wonderful, but we missed our community. We missed our friends and our family, our nieces and nephews. And it was just really hard being away for the long stretch that we were. So I think what we would do is we would do it a little differently. We would maybe go for a month or two and then come back to Florida and be here, whether it's here in New Smyrna, whether we find a park in Orlando, or we also have family in Tampa. We would stay here in Florida somewhere for a month. So we're constantly able to come back and kind of get that family friend fill up that we need, that we missed on the road, because being away from the community that we both grew up in. So Babe and I both lived in Orlando our entire lives and had always been around our family. And it was just harder than we realized being away. Oh yeah, I did have my little crayon book. I wrote a children's book at one point. I actually need to go find it. I did love that book. Maybe I will try and go back to my book, Mom. Me and Mom, just here in the chat. So if you're here as well, say hi. But or if you have any questions about RV life, what it was like on the road, and what we would do differently, let me know. We would go out and come back a lot more often than we did the first time around. And we would also not do the hours that we did. It just got really really tasking and tiring. And there would be moments that we were like, we cannot even go out and see any of the places that we were because we were exhausted. And so it'll be nice to kind of figure out a different balance when we go out again. And we're not sure when exactly that will be. We're not sure if we're going to move back into the camper right away when we have to leave the condo, There's a few other options. We would ideally like to have somewhere where we can be living and renovating the camper without living in it, because as much as it worked out well the first time, if both of us are trying to work remotely in terms of having like a set office space, we really want to do a full reno on the camper. And it needs it anyways. All the campers are just dark, all the brown, so much brown. And so we really would love to give it just a little facelift. We would probably take out the dining table, move that, and switch it around so that Andrew's desk faced out the side window. And then we would create a desk for me in the back so that I'm facing out a separate window, because we're fine with the togetherness. Actually, that turned out really well for us. We did life really well together on the road and didn't really feel like we were on top of each other, but it's still nice to have separate working spaces. So we would make sure that there's a space for Babe and a space for me. And then we want to do more of a white, kind of bright look as opposed to so much, oh, thanks, Mom. I also may get my hair cut soon because I do miss my short semi-blonde, but thank you. We're going to do whites, brights. I have so many ideas for the camper that it would be hard to live in it while we renovated it. But that just may have to be what we do. And that's okay. We would probably just renovate the bedroom first really quickly so that at least at the end of the day, when we're still kind of renovating everything in the living space, we have the bedroom that we can go in and kind of shut off and not feel like we're living in tons of tools, because the small space can really get cramped when you're trying to. We did one renovation project when Babe broke the glass in the door that shuts the bedroom. So we actually put a chalkboard up in there, but with tools and all the wood and everything and paint and all of that in the camper, it just gets full really quick because it's such a small space. But I miss it. I miss our small space. Even we're in a 2-bedroom condo right now. And for some reason, like the more space I have for some reason right now in terms of living, almost the more claustrophobic I feel. I don't know why, but I just feel like there's so much stuff. And there's so much room for stuff. And so I fill it with stuff. And you don't need to fill every space with stuff. That is a note to self, but maybe also helpful if you need to hear that, because we do not need to fill every space with stuff. And so I know I just kind of rambled and went on for quite a bit about campers and basically not knowing what our future looks like, other than we are trying to get semi-nomadic again. We do miss road life a lot. We miss seeing new places. We just definitely will do it a little bit differently because we want the camper to be a little more livable in terms of functionality. And we need to be in Florida just a little more often than we were the first go around, because it's hard to miss people. That's probably the worst thing about road life, is missing the community you have in a certain place. And I think when we go out again, because we were on the go all the time. Nope, I have not shared October reads yet. I'm getting to those. But because we were hopping around so much, because we had decided that we were going to come back and kind of reevaluate what road life would look like and how we would maybe be able to get back out in the future. And then remote work just became this huge thing. So that's helpful. But hopping around from place to place, it kind of made it hard to meet other RVers too. We would love to connect with other RVing couples and families and be able to kind of spend some time. There's a few people I follow that I'd love to, that, you know, I connect with via Instagram that I would love to actually get to go spend some time with in a specific area. And I think building that community up is also really helpful. So if you're thinking about RV life, as much as I loved it being just Babe and I, and it was a great bonding time for us and for our marriage. I also think that you need to have community, even if it's just people, acquaintances that you meet up with, every so often. It helps to have other people to chat with. And I don't think we realized how much I'm an extrovert. I'm an introverted extrovert. I just need to have kind of people to chat with from time to time. Babe a little less so than me, but I think even for him, it got kind of taxing only having me to talk to for a while. So I think it'll be good to just kind of connect with other people as well, and then make sure we're, again, coming back here more often to connect and see our people, because we love our people, and being far away from them I think the longest stretch was 6 months, was too long. But yeah, that's the update on life. And I know I said you don't need to fill every space with stuff, but Mom is asking about my October reads. So the one thing you do kind of still need to fill space with is books, at least for me. And that was a hard thing on the road too, because I kept a lot of my library. I brought all my Harry Potter books with me, all my Twilight books, all my Nerd Life books, and books that I keep. But I'm a library goer, and so I had to learn to do the Kindle, which was hard. But I've gotten used to it, and that was good. But also, so many of the campgrounds have the exchange a book program. So that was a great way to kind of at least keep my book blog going without having tons of books just hanging out all around the camper. But that is probably the most that I brought with me that took up space in the camper was my book collection. So, October reads. I love October. October is my favorite month of the year, probably anywhere. It's my favorite month at the beach. One, it's a great time to visit the beach because no one is, like, the snowbirds haven't really arrived yet. They're starting to, but they haven't really arrived yet. So the beach isn't super full. And then all of the summer Floridians that are here and kids are, out and running and having fun and a great time, they're gone too because school started back. And so it's a great time to just come, and the beach is just peaceful. And it's also it was still pretty brutal, actually, most of October this month, but there is a nice breeze. So at least, like, when you're laying out in the sun or you're in the pool, it's at least not sweltering hot. It's just my favorite time to be at the beach, and really just my favorite month in general because I love scary movies and those are all on TV. And then I stock up on all my favorite October reads. So this month I actually made it back to the library and I was so happy. Library life forever. I hope they never go away, even though Babe says that they're going to be obsolete soon, but I don't agree with him. But my October reads, I did 2 Audible books and then 3 or 4, actually made it through, I think 4 books, like books, which this is a book is my true reading love language. But I've gotten into Audible, which I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And the first one I listened to, I love Ruth Ware. If you are looking for a good spooky read for October, Ruth Ware is awesome. And her new one, I liked it. One by One. Why is it not coming up? So One by One by Ruth Ware. It was a great listen. It was really fun. Probably not my top favorite of hers. Maybe right in the middle. I loved In a Dark, Dark Wood, which is, I think, her first book, actually. So good. And then also The Lying Game. Really, really good. Then probably One by One would be next. She also wrote The Woman in Cabin 10 and The Death of Mrs. Westaway, which that one was probably my least favorite of hers, but I love all Ruth Ware books. So if you still want a spooky, fun read for October. I would definitely recommend one of hers. And I also am currently listening to The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell for book club. And if you've ever read or listened to anything by her, it's very similar to her typical style of writing. But I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen with this family. So One by One by Ruth Ware is all about this group that has created an app similar to Spotify, but you can actually like spy on the people's playlists. You can listen. They have to be actively listening to a playlist, but then you can go in and listen to whatever playlist it is they're listening to. And so this group has gone up to this chalet because they're talking about a buyout for the company, and the stakeholders, they're trying to, one of the owners does not want to sell, and then everyone else really wants the buyout because it's going to make them millionaires. And then slowly people start to die, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on and why. And so, yeah, it was just a really fun read for October. The Family Upstairs is kind of about almost like a cult. It starts out with a family and they own this big house. And then all of a sudden people just start moving into this big house with them. And one of the guys that moves in is just this kind of charismatic, everyone loves him, worships him, at least in terms of the adults. The kids see, let's see. Oh, mom's talking. Oh, mom says Family Upstairs is good, but not Lisa Jewell's best. It's a little slow going to me in some parts, but it's still pretty intriguing. I think I know what's about to happen, but we shall see if I'm correct. But yes, this charismatic guy kind of wins over most of the adults. But the children, it's actually told in 4 parts. So it's told from the son's point of view of the original family. It is told from a woman named Lucy's point of view, who you don't know really which character Lucy was as a child. I think I know, but we'll see. And then it's also told from the point of view of, they call her the baby, but there was this baby that was found after 3 of the adults are found dead. And the baby has now inherited this house. The baby is now 25 years old. And so it's her point of view 25 years later from what had been happening as this family kind of gets wrapped up into this kind of cult world. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. Oh, mom's saying maybe I know and maybe I don't. Call her when we're done with this and discuss. I will call you, Mom. Invisible Girl. I have not read that. Who is Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell? I don't know. Let me know. So those were my Audible books. My reads, I did read Jocelyn Jackson's newest book. She took a turn from kind of from her usual books. I didn't love it. Especially the ending. It was very just not, I don't know. If you like Jocelyn Jackson and pick up her newest book, I think it's called Never Have I Ever. Just know it's going to be very different than any of her other books, and go into it with eyes open for that. My other 2 reads were just real quick. These are actually kids' ghost stories, basically. So, Mary Downing Hahn. I've been a reader my entire life. And books don't scare me. Movies don't really scare me in terms of like keeping me up at night. But she wrote a book that I read when I was younger called Wait Till Helen Comes. So good. Such a good read for October. And the only book that's ever actually, like, I had to stay up. I think I was up. I would have been maybe 10 or 11 up until like 1 o'clock in the morning because I had to finish the book to be able to go to sleep because it scared me. I read all the Goosebumps, all the scary stories you tell in the dark, but her books are just really kind of creepy. This one was a little tough just because there's a pandemic going on and some of the kids are just real bullies. And there's a lot of, it's also during World War II and just a lot of stuff that was hard to read. But the better one was Took. So Took is about a family, all about families that move into creepy houses. So this family moves into this house after the dad loses his job during the recession, and they move out to this house in the woods, and where 50 years ago a little girl had disappeared, and 50 years before that a little girl had disappeared, and they have a little girl who then disappears, gets took. And her brother's trying to figure out how to get her back. So it's interesting. Let's see. Mom says Invisible Girl. Oh, is Lisa Julin just came out. So that's her new book. Okay, I haven't read that one. And then, Jocelyn Jackson's next book is also going to be dark. Oh, we'll see if I like it. I don't know. But if you're wanting spooky reads, spooky quick reads for October, I would definitely recommend Mary Downing Hahn because, again, they're written for kids, but I love them even still as an adult, and they're really easy to get through if you're wanting something just quick and fun and spooky for the holidays. And then going into November, I also did re-listen to Twilight in preparation for reading Midnight Sun. I do typically tend to read Twilight at some point between like October and November for some reason. I did that when we were on the road. I reread all of them, and then I just re-listened to Twilight, and it just makes my heart happy. It's just a comfort. It's a comfort listen. So if you've never listened to them, they're interesting. Helicopter. But going into the holidays in terms of like Thanksgiving and Christmas, I also saw this at the library, Little Men, which if you have read Little Women but have not read Little Men, I would highly recommend it. It's the story of Jo after she has taken over inheritance of Plumfield, and she basically opens a school for boys. And it's just all these, so Teddy, if you know anything about Little Women, he kind of helps fund the school, and they take in cases, like this one little boy, Nat, his father died. He had helped his father. Basically, they were homeless, but they would play the fiddle for money. And now he's kind of left on himself. Show Prim the lion cat. Hey, Prim. Yeah, that's Prim. She gets super matted for some reason. Yeah, you. And now you're a lion. Are you a lion, kitty? Primmy. She's like, get me off the screen. She don't want to be on here. Yeah. Oh, bye, Mom. Love you. Thanks, Mom. So me and Mom just hanging out in the live. But yes, Prim the cat, it started happening when we were on the road. I think because she likes to go under the bed, and she would stay under there, and like the sides of her little fur would just get so matted. So Monday was quite the adventure trying to get this cat shaved. But she's now much happier and will actually let you touch her because her poor little fur doesn't hurt. Right, Prim? But yeah, so that's it. Little Men, just so sweet. And this book actually was one of the first books that I read when I was younger that really started me thinking maybe someday I would be a foster parent. So that's also still a dream, which will probably have to happen quite a few years from now if we're going to go back on the road, because I don't think they let you foster kids if you're living in a camper and trying to travel. But this was the first book that kind of started that for me. It's just a sweet story, the way they kind of build these boys up. And there is a little girl in it named Daisy, which, by the way, is what my mother wanted to call me originally. And my dad told her no, so they named the dog that instead. So I'm Melanie and not Daisy because Dad put a big old stop on that. But Daisy, there's a little girl named Daisy in the book that lives at Plumfield too. And it's just a sweet, good story for the holidays. So that's it. Thanks for coming, me and Mom hanging out. And I will see you guys later. If you have any questions, follow-up questions to the video about road life or anything like that, let me know. Bye, guys. Enjoy the journey.